I am 30 or 40 years old and I do not need this.
Sometimes we just don't need anything. You know what I'm saying? Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Power Up Podcast. It's Tuesday, so that means we are back taking a look at what's happening in pop culture news in order to keep our minds sharp, up to date. What I try to give you is transparency in that, aside from checking out the title, I guess, to see if I'm interested in it. I don't like pre-read these ahead of times or anything, so you get full transparency, and I just give my thoughts on it. And like I said, our goal is to keep ourselves sharp, up to date of what's happening, taking a look at what's good, bad, and ugly, and all that fun stuff. So I hope you guys are having a good Tuesday. If you enjoy this sort of thing, you can check me out on my social medias: YouTube, Twitch, Kick, X, Rumble, all that good stuff. Right now, we're just on YouTube, Rumble, and X, but I do game streaming as well on the Big Five. And so far, we are once again back in Raccoon City in Resident Evil 9 or Resident Evil Requiem. And we're doing insane mode, but we're doing it with infinite ammo because heaven forbid I go through that without it. I paid my dues, so we're once again there. Love that game. It'll be my third time beating it once we get done with insane mode. And we just finished Mega Man X6, and maybe we'll start up Mega Man X7. So we got some news here coming for you. So let's take a look at what's happening. Let's hop on in. Woo-boom. There you go. This comes from Tech for Gamer. So Xbox is internally considering a return to exclusivity, claims an insider. So ever since Xbox pivoted to porting its exclusive titles to other platformers, gamers have hotly debated this shift in strategy. This is very much true. This is very much true. Even though most Xbox fans think there should be exclusive games on the platform, the company has declared them outdated, despite industry veterans criticizing this rhetoric. PlayStation, on the other hand, is doubling down on its exclusive ecosystem, with reports suggesting that Sony might stop releasing games on PC. As it turns out, Xbox could also be following its competitor down this path, with an insider claiming the gaming giant is reconsidering its multi-platform shift. Competition is very important in the gaming industry, true. And if Xbox wants to go head-to-head with PlayStation, it needs major exclusives. I think this is a no-brainer, to be honest. Unless the game is specifically for multiplayer, just continue having the exclusives, because that's what's gonna... It's the whole point. The whole point is to get people talking about, I really want to play that game. I wish it was on this console. It's not, so maybe I should consider getting that. And there you go. They're not only going to want to buy the game, but they're going to need to buy the console to play it and all that stuff. So I was speaking on the Xbox 2 podcast. Jez Corden stated that there are big internal discussions happening about the status of Xbox exclusivities, or exclusive. I don't know why I said exclusivities. Exclusives at the company. The insider revealed that the company recognizes the value of exclusive titles, and the debate is more about whether Xbox wants to be a publisher or a gaming or a gaming platform moving forward. My muscle like spasmed ever since the broken clavicle. It's on this side, but gosh, it just so annoying. Corden went on to say that the gaming giant cannot do both, and they can either be a game publisher first, shrinking the hardware business as a result, or focus fully on being a console manufacturer. Considering how new Xbox CEO Asha Sharma has already decided to take a second look at the Game Pass prices, I did see that. We might want to check that one out too. This issue being under examination isn't far-fetched. Sharma also previously posted that she hears fans who want first-party titles to stay exclusive. What about people who want like someone who's actually a gamer running, being CEO? I don't think that's going to change. The multi-platform pivot hasn't been a complete disaster for Xbox, however, as Forza Horizon 5 has sold over 5 million copies on PS5, with the Oblivion remaster also shipping over 1 million units on the platform. But the damage to the brand's reputation may not be worth the extra revenue. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, exclusive. If these guys want to make money, you gotta keep with the exclusive, and you actually have to make a good gaming catalog. Sony has failed on that one, that's for sure. I did. Xbox CEO believes Game Pass currently too expensive for players. So, with her running the show after Phil Spencer's retirement, Xbox has had a new CEO for over a month. That's Asha Sharma. The arrival of the new CEO has led to plenty of hope among fans of Xbox. And Asha Sharma has also said that she is open to sweeping changes if they can help Microsoft's gaming division in the long term. Who said plenty of led to hope? What are they talking about? Fans still want... just... What does the CEO... not her specifically. Like, I don't think she's just being like, okay, yeah, I guess we should do this. It's not like, oh, because of her, we want exclusivity. Among other things, the new Xbox CEO appears quite concerned about the state of the Game Pass. In particular, she has recently noted that the service become more expensive than it should be. Xbox recently increased the price of Game Pass Ultimate to $30 a month and removed day one games from every other tier except Game Pass for PC. Wow. What a pile of garbage. I don't have a Game Pass for either PlayStation or Xbox, nor do I have the online subscription. New reporting by The Verge's Tom Warren has uncovered Asha Sharma's comments on Game Pass from an internal memo to her team. The memo shows that the Xbox head is well aware of the subscription's current position. She has admitted that the service needs to offer better value to the players since the current value proposition is not that great. She also noted that Game Pass is still evolving into a more flexible system. In the short term, she hopes to introduce a cheaper option for the players while coming up with a more balanced approach for the long term. Ultimately, the Xbox CEO's comments suggest Game Pass pricing is set to receive a major revision soon, one that will likely please a lot of fans. This is made further evident by the fact that she believes the service is at the heart of Microsoft's value proposition offerings for gamers. This report comes following rumors of Xbox contemplating the removal of Call of Duty from the servers. It appears, however, Asha Sharma is interested in a solution that benefits both players and companies. I mean, this is no different than people complaining about Netflix raising their prices. Excuse me. Jeez, it's been a long day. Raising their prices, number one. Number two, here's what you can do right in the beginning, is that you can just... There's so many different tiers. Just make one good tier. That's all you have to do. One good tier that counts for both PC or Xbox. And there you go. But I've complained about the game passing tiers before. Because in the end, they want you to buy the most expensive one because that one has the most bang for your buck. And people were tired of that. Sydney Sweeney. Who doesn't love her? Apparently, Paul Feig loves her because that's who the Ghostbusters 2016 director, Fatbusters, as I like to call it. Apparently, that guy claims the next James Bond should be American woman Sydney Sweeney. I don't think as James Bond. I would say as the James Bond gal, for sure, yeah. But let's hear what old Paul Feig has to say. The director behind 2016's all-female Ghostbusters reboot is reportedly backing the idea that the next James Bond should not simply be a woman, but an American woman. Oh, that's retarded. On both of them, let's be honest. James Bond is a man, always have been a man, and he's not American. Why are we bastardizing things? Yes, really. According to a report published by The Sun, Feig said, "I'd rather Sydney be the next Bond." He then doubled down with, "There have been some cool Bond girls, but come on, let her be the super spy. She's great." Here's an answer to that dilemma. It's called, you make someone that's like James Bond, except make it be the female, the female version. Also, don't try to do it like how they did with Atomic Betty, which I remember that was like such a buzz about, woman power and all that stuff. And look who's talking about it now. I might be the only one, because that was the example that I gave of how you fail at making a strong female protagonist. That's certainly one option, but it's also one that runs headfirst into what James Bond has always been, a British male character whose cinematic identity is deeply tied to the UK. Bond is not some blank slate action role that can be endlessly reskinned to fit whatever modern Hollywood trend is floating around that week. He is one of the most recognizable characters in film history, and that identity is a big reason the franchise endured for generations. What makes Feig's comment land with a thud is not just the idea itself, it is who is saying it. This is the same filmmaker who directed the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot, a film that famously replaced the original male team with a female cast and became one of the most divisive franchise reworks of the modern age. Sony pushed the project hard. The media framed much of the backlash in predictable terms, and yet audience still largely rejected it. The film underperformed commercially relative to its cost and marketing push, and it left the brand in an awkward place before Sony later pivoted back towards legacy continuity. So when Feig now suggests James Bond should be turned into Sydney Sweeney, it is hard not to notice a pattern here. Hollywood keeps returning to the same well. Take an established male icon, swap out the identity at the core of the character, and act shocked when fans ask why the original concept was not good enough to stand on its own. This is the part that should not even be controversial, that being that James Bond is not supposed to be an American woman. James Bond has historically been portrayed by men with strong ties to the UK and Ireland. Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and Daniel Craig all fit within the tradition. The character is a British agent. The world of Bond is British. The iconography is British. Even when different actors brought different tones to the role, the core identity remained intact. GoldenEye is still my favorite Bond movie to this day because Alec Trevelyan was awesome. The game was awesome, and I just liked the idea that it wasn't your average villain hijacking the world or getting some special weapon. Just Sean Bean wanting to get revenge on MI6. Doing that. In a way, what's the one with what's his name? I can't remember the one Bond movie with the guy whose like face got sunken in because his cyanide capsule failed. It was kind of a takeoff on that because he felt betrayed too. But I think I like GoldenEye the better too because that was it was an agent versus an agent. And a personal one at that. Personal vendetta, if you will. The studio wants to build a female spy franchise around Sydney Sweeney. It can do that. Hey, that's what I said. There's nothing stopping Hollywood from creating a new character, a new mythology, and a new world tailored to her strength. But trying to fold that into Bond isn't bold. It's nothing more or less than brand vandalism. Sweeney, of course, has grown industry clout. And there's no question she's one of the biggest young stars in Hollywood right now. Ryan McCormick told Fox News Miss Sweeney has already arrived and has had a sustained level of relevancy for at least 3 years. He also argued, on the contrary, I think that the Bond series would benefit more from Sweeney than vice versa. That may be true in terms of celebrity buzz, but celebrity buzz and character fit are not the same thing. Sweeney being a star does not magically make her James Bond any more than a popular actor automatically becomes Batman, Indiana Jones, or Sherlock Holmes just because social media thinks it would be interesting. Some characters have defined parameters. Bond is one of them. Dave Quast, another expert quoted in the report, said that's a huge distinction. There's a huge distinction between being Bond and being a Bond girl, he added. If she were cast as Bond, it would alleviate her profile significantly rather than limit it. Sure, but it would also torch one of the clearest character's identities. And so notice how they're just ignoring the character altogether. These people, they don't care about the fact that they're talking about, oh, it would help her, it would elevate her profile. It would be interesting. They're only caring about using the relevancy to hopefully make a sale. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But when you just straight ignore who you're trying to, replace, you're just delusional. As this article has repeatedly stated over and over and over, James Bond is a male from the UK. End of story. That's it. Hollywood keeps confusing subversion with good storytelling. This is the real issue underneath it all. For years now, major studios have acted as though shaking things up is automatically the same thing as making something better. Sometimes it works, often it does not. And when it fails, the industry usually learns absolutely nothing from the experience. That's why Feig backing the idea of an American female Bond stands out. It's not just a random hot take. It's another example of the same worldview that has repeatedly produced franchise fatigue, fan alienation, and expensive disappointment. You don't preserve iconic characters by stripping away what made them iconic in the first place. And no, that doesn't mean Sydney Sweeney is the problem. She isn't. The problem is the increasingly stale Hollywood instinct to treat legacy franchises like interchangeable IP shells rather than stories with actual identity, history, and audience expectation. James Bond has survived for decades because the franchise has been willing to evolve without abandoning its foundation. Different eras, different tones, different leading men, different supporting cast, sure, but still Bond. That's the balance Hollywood keeps failing to understand. A franchise can modernize without self-destruction. It can adapt without pretending its past no longer matters. What it shouldn't do is chase headlines by warping a classic character into something fundamentally different and then calling that progress. If Feig really believes Sydney Sweeney should be the next Bond, he's free to say it, but audiences have seen this kind of thing before. They know where it tends to lead, and in Feig's case, they've already watched one famous reboot built on that exact mentality crash into a wall. James Bond isn't broken, doesn't need to be fixed, needs to remain James Bond. Not like James Pond that we read last time. That came from that Park Place. Good. I like the articles from that Park Place. This is also interesting. So the Xbox creator, I guess a Xbox creator, slams Project Helix, says he'd pick Steam Machine instead. Oof. Now, who would say that? The next console generation is going to be very different from what we are used to. PlayStation is expected to drop a home and portable console, while Xbox is set to release a next-gen hybrid console, and Valve the Steam Machine. However, the Xbox creator has slammed the idea of Project Helix and says he prefers the Steam Machine over it. He says that because Valve is focused more on cool games than Xbox, the former's hardware seems much more exciting. Steam is undeniably the better platform in terms of games, with its great sales, customer-friendly policies, I don't know about that one, but sure. And a huge lineup of titles. But it seems a little too early to write off Project Helix. In an interview with the Expansion Pass, Seamus Blackley talked about the future of gaming. The Xbox creator stated that he is vastly more excited for the Steam machine and believes everyone should be too. He says, I am vastly more excited about Steam than about Project Helix as a gamer from a content standpoint, as I think everybody would be, or, what's Switch 3 going to be? That's a weird quote. He must have had different moments of thought. I am vastly more excited about Steam than about Project Helix as a gamer from a content standpoint, as I think everybody would be, or what's Switch 3 gonna be? This last part, I don't know. He must have had a lot of pauses or something. He stated that it's something fresh and exciting, like being excited about what the Nintendo Switch 3 would be. I don't know what else Nintendo Switch honestly can do, but never say never, I guess. Valve focuses on cool games and is a gamer that excites him much more than what Xbox has been doing. However, things might get really interesting as Project Helix is expected to feature multiple storefronts as well. So if it has Steam too, that could change things. Both machines are expected to be priced over $1,000. So the competition will be intriguing. Yeah, I'm still not a fan of having to drop $1,000 that could just go towards a computer. This comes from Gaming Bolt. Marvel's Spider-Man face model hints at new game being in development. 'Tis just a rumor. In a since deleted social media post, Ben Jordan, the face of Peter Parker in the games, posted a picture of himself in mocap gear. While Insomniac Games is currently busy with the development of Marvel's Wolverine, which I want to enjoy, but how much of Sweet Baby Ink was left over or is still in it? It looks like the studio might have also started work on a new game in its Marvel Spider-Man series. As caught by IGN, the face model of protagonist Peter Parker, Ben Jordan, posted a picture of himself wearing motion capture equipment. The since deleted post had a single text caption, "If you know, you know," which stands for what I just told you. That would be IYKYK. While the post itself isn't available anymore, other social media users have managed to grab screenshots. You can check it out below. Whether this game will be a new mainline entry featuring the number 3 in its title, or whether it will be another spin-off in the vein of Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, who's not Spider-Man, is currently unknown. It is worth noting that neither Sony nor Insomniac Games has made any official statement about a new Marvel's Spider-Man game. Jordan made his debut as the face of Peter Parker in Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, where he replaced original face model John Bupniak. I thought didn't they replace it with like a Tom Holland? Like, I was thinking about that because I have the original. I don't know, unless this guy kind of looks like Tom Holland, but I don't think so. At the time, Insomniac Games creator-director Brian Inerthar said that the change was related to finding a better facial match for actor Yuri Lowenthal. In the meantime, Marvel's Wolverine is being developed for PS5 and is slated for release on September 15th. The studio announced the release date with a social media post back in February, where it is also linked to its PlayStation Store page so fans could add it to their wish list. While wish lists may be live, Insomniac Games hasn't yet started pre-orders for the title. When asked about this, studio said, we want to show you more of the game first. This indicates that there will be a Marvel's Wolverine-centric state of play showcase between now and the game's release. Oh boy, I hope they showed that they got rid of all that DEI crap, because that's what a lot of people were upset about, was that being infested in Marvel's Wolverine. It's going to be an entirely new story revolving around James Logan Howlett. The narrative will focus on Logan's attempt to regain his memories, with several antagonistic factions and individuals trying their best to stop him. Some of the enemies that players will get to face include Reavers, Sentinels, and even iconic comic book characters like Omega Red. As is often the case with many X-Men stories, Mystique will also be involved in the story with her own motivations. Logan's voice actor, Liam J. McIntyre, had taken to social media back in February to discuss his work with the game. In a post, he wrote that he had been working on this for almost as long as my son has been alive. I've been waiting for this day for a long time, not long now. The actor has previously also praised Insomniac Games. It means so much to us, and especially developers who are pouring everything into making this the game of you dream of. He wrote back in November of 2025. You rock, can't wait to show you more next year. Interestingly, a report back in January has indicated that Sony is treating the upcoming Grand Theft Auto 6 out on November 19th like a PS5 exclusive. To that end, the company has also planned to release dates for its other games, like Wolverine, to apparently avoid the blast zone that will create when Rockstar's game finally comes out. We all know got hacked, and they did not care at all about the hackers, and they're like, yeah, whatever. And I guess the hackers released it, and it looked like the files like meant nothing. Because people were like, don't download it, it's spyware and stuff, and some people did, and it's like, yeah, these are nothing. This is like a nothing burger. And it's like, oh, nice job there, hackers. Ladies and gentlemen, I've tried to play Bloodborne a couple times. Just gets me so mad, so salty. But if you are indeed a fan of Bloodborne, it is officially returning as an R-rated animated movie. The thing is that Jacksepticeye is producing the Bloodborne movie. I don't know anything about Jacksepticeye or anything, so I don't know. So Sony Pictures and PlayStation Productions are developing their feature film, which will be produced by content creator Jean Jacksepticeye McLaughlin, along with a lyrical animation. No plot details or director were announced for Bloodborne, though Sony said the project marketed a continuation of its push to use game IP in the film space following projects such as Twisted Metal, Uncharted, and The Last of Us. Bloodborne was released back in 2015. Hot diggity dog. It's been that long. That's crazy. My goodness. Wow. 11 years already. Bloodborne is a critically acclaimed action RPG set in a gothic world, directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki and published by Sony. Sony owns the Bloodborne IP, and fans have long called for it to revisit the game in the form of a remaster. Veteran PlayStation X Shuhei Yoshida recently explained why he believes Bloodborne hasn't been properly brought to PS5 yet. Bloodborne has always been the most asked for thing, and people wonder why we haven't really done anything. Not even an update or remake or remaster, which should be easy. We're known for doing so many remasters. Some people get frustrated, he told Kinda Funny. I only have my personal theory for the situation. I left first-party development, so I don't know what's going on. But my theory is because I remember Miyazaki really loved Bloodborne and what he created. I think he is interested in bringing back Bloodborne, but he is so successful, so busy. So he can't do it himself, but he doesn't want anyone else to touch it. So that's my theory, and the PlayStation team respects his wish. That's my guess and theory. I'm not revealing any secret information. Well, there you go. I don't know. I know some people like Jacksepticeye, but I thought he said some stuff that was stupid woke or some of the garbage pandering that's just slowly dying and needs to die. Don't quote me on that though, because I can't think of it, but I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at Fandom Wire and Godzilla Minus Zero trailer. Takahashi Yamazaki's Kaiju heads to New York in the sequel. So at CinemaCon 2026, director Takashi Yamazaki took to the stage to unveil the trailer for Godzilla Minus Zero, the highly anticipated sequel to Godzilla Minus One, which nabbed an Oscar win for Best Visual Effects. With the movie approaching a November release, the trailer commenced with American soldiers saying, "If their operation fails, maybe we finally get to use it." Let's take a look at this, shall we?
If their operation fails, maybe we'll finally get to use it.
Abort third drop. Repeat. Abort third drop.
Oh. There you go. Ooh. Nice. Nice shot. So while several key figures reprise their roles, including Minami Hamabe's Norihiko Oishi and Ryonosuke Kamiki's Koichi Shikishima, who are teased in the trailer, the highlights of the footage was seeing Godzilla approaching the Statue of Liberty. Although it's unclear how prominent the US will be in the sequel, the upcoming entry will break new ground by becoming the first Toho Godzilla production to take the action to the US. Minus, of course, the one Godzilla with, what's his face? Matthew Broderick. So even though the brief trailer concluded with the kaiju heading towards New York City, director Yamazaki confirmed it is a direct sequel to Godzilla Minus One. So it is indeed a direct sequel. And as we saw, it is set to take place 2 years after the events of Godzilla Minus One. So he did not stay in that stasis that long, if I remember correctly from the movie. It will be darker than the last movie, stressing that an even deeper despair will descend upon the people of Japan and the Shikishima family. Yamazaki said at CinemaCon. Okay, we just read that. When faced with overwhelming and inescapable force, how do people fight back? The journey from minus to zero will not be an easy one. With Godzilla X Kong Supernova slated to headlight the theaters in 2027. I didn't know that. Fans of the iconic kaiju are set to feast in the coming months. Minus Zero will be filmed and released in IMAX. Compared to Godzilla Minus One, which had a relatively modest release in the US, expect a much bigger and more ambitious release for the sequel, riding on the goodwill from its predecessor, arguably the best Godzilla movie in recent years. I would say so, yeah. I liked Shin Godzilla too, but I'm a sucker for Hideki Anno. And to take things even further, director Takashi Yamazaki, will revealed that it will be the first Japanese movie to be filmed for IMAX. Nice. So expect a major IMAX rollout later this year. To clarify, this doesn't mean that the movie was shot in traditional IMAX cameras like the Odyssey, but rather that it was filmed to take full advantage of the IMAX format. Although we're no strangers to witnessing the US getting decimated in big budget Godzilla movies, most of the Hollywood counterparts don't excel at fleshing out the human characters in those stories. Debatable, because it's not about the human characters. It's literally about Godzilla going around destroying stuff and finding another monster. On the flip side, the human arcs were the heart of Minus One, so it'll be interesting to see how they approach Godzilla's potential assault on US soil in this sequel. I think it looks dope. I really enjoyed the first one. Godzilla Minus Zero. Took me a while to see it, but I really, really did enjoy it. So also coming from Gaming Bolt, the next God of War could feature Chinese and Japanese mythological elements. This is apparently a rumor. So, following a report about the potential inclusion of Mayan elements, other myths could involved in the alleged spin-off. It's been an interesting week, especially for rumors surrounding the next God of War, which allegedly stars Faye, Kratos' wife from the Norse saga. Among all the alleged details shared by a Phantom Wire writer in a Reddit comment, that it includes Tyr, a talking sword called Merlin, and even a sentient gelatinous cube as a companion. There may also be other mythologies involved. MP First claims to have heard about Chinese and Japanese mythological elements on top of the previously reported Mayan aspects. Of course, plans are always subject to change, but the fact that Merlin, who may or may not be the Arthurian wizard of legend, may be involved does lend more credence. Regardless, we may not have to wait long to find out. Inside Gaming's Tom Henderson claims it could be announced very soon, maybe even this month. Whether it appears during the next State of Play, allegedly scheduled for April 16th. Is that really coming up? The coming up April 16th. Dang. It remains to be seen. Perhaps we'll get a closer look at the reported Devil May Cry style hack and slash combat and how the alleged cube and sword comes into play. It reports about a launch in 2027, or if it's about the launch, if reports about a launch in 2027 are true, fans will have something to help with the wait for God of War trilogy remake. I have yet to play Ragnarok. I might at some point, but I kind of fell out of it a little bit. But definitely interesting, though. That's for sure. Let's see. That's kind of what I had for today. However, there were some other articles from Tech for Gamer here. If I can pull it up, that'd be fantastic. There were some other articles that kind of caught my eye that I didn't want to overload in terms of like Tech for Gamer, like using Tech for Gamer. But we could see a couple. So that's because, they covered like supposedly what the next thing's going to be. We got The Face, we got Bloodborne. Resident Evil Requiem has been completed by a remarkable 70%. Interesting. Well, Xbox profitability targets reportedly lowered by management. Oh yeah, this memory prices surged. Memory prices surge. Micro Center lists 128 gigabyte DDR5 at $4,000, while 8 terabytes of SSD hit 30,000. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Companies around the world are continuously investing millions of dollars in AI. The spotlight is no longer on GPU like NVIDIA. It also requires as much RAM as possible while training with larger LLM modules. This includes GPU accelerators with the most VRAM, as well as enough RAM and high-capacity SSDs, HDDs, to power everything. Because of the huge demand, RAM prices have surged, and if you want to buy 128 gigabyte in the United States from stores like Micro Center, expect to pay more than $4,000. That is absolutely ridiculous. RAM prices have been on the rise for a few months now. The latest example shows just how much the AI push has impacted this part of the tech industry. Wasn't too long ago that 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM in a high-end PC was regarded as one of the most affordable components, but the price has suddenly risen from 100 to 400. I'm assuming that's euros or more. Given that the price, one might expect 128 gigabytes of RAM to cost 1,600 or 2,000 at most, but Micro Center is now selling 128 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance, 64 megahertz RG, all that stuff for, wow, look at that, for $4,199 due to the present shortage, although the store shelves remain full. Of course, because no one's going to buy it. No one is going to fucking buy it. It's ridiculous. Just let the bubble pop. The image attached above, you mean below, shows that there are dozens upon dozens of packages of DDR5 RAM modules, and people aren't interested in them. Unlike other components such as GPUs, RAM will not deliver a huge FPS and visual boost. Normally, 128 gigabyte RAM is not needed, so it is considered a complete waste, and only a handful will require that much memory for professional use, such as rendering millions of polygons in ZBrush, video editing with several plugins and high quality, or AI programs. Among the dozens of products for sale, we can find both RAM and SSD. Among those products suffering from inflated prices at the moment, since price increases and shortages have resulted in an outrageous cost. Yeah, absolutely freaking ridiculous, dude. Ridiculous. Wait, did this just now update? Wait, what? Did you guys see that? Okay, that's weird. Yeah, let's take a look at this Resident Evil Requiem here. Resident Evil Requiem has turned out to be a bigger success than Capcom could have ever imagined. The horror title has already sold over 6 million copies around the globe, reaching a new concurrent player peak for the franchise on Steam, while selling out at physical retailers around the globe. The game has also been a critical darling, earning the highest user score for the Resident Evil series, in Metacritic. Players have been vocal about their appreciation for the title, and new data shows that most players have already finished Requiem. With its moderate length and brilliant pacing, AAA studios should see Requiem as the best example of how long and seamless $70 titles should be. According to achievement and trophy statuses, 70% of players on PC and PS5 have completed the main story of Resident Evil Requiem only a month after launch. On Steam, exactly 70.5% of players have earned the Rookie Agent achievement, which you get after finishing the game on at least the lowest difficulty, meaning 66.9% of users on the PS5 have also gained the Rookie Agent trophy for completing the Resident Evil Requiem playthrough. Compared to other AAA games, those numbers are really impressive, as other horror entries like The Last of Us Part 2 only surpassed a 50% completion rate several months after launch. No doubt Resident Evil Requiem, being under 20 hours and leaning towards action horror, has helped with these remarkable stats. I'm sure I have a couple of those because I've played it on casual, medium, and now insane. But a 70% completion rate is still a cause for celebration. Considering how AAA titles reach even 50%, it's meant to be a triumph. Silent Hill F, which launched last year, has only been finished by about 40% of its users. I was not impressed by Silent Hill F. While Resident Evil 10 reportedly already in development, fans who have finished Requiem won't have to wait a long time before they can delve into another mainline entry from the franchise. Well, it's definitely has replay value. It's got me replaying like 3 times, and it's been a while since I've had a big chunk of replay value. Another replay I did more offline, but kind of completed. I did some streaming on it, was Cuphead again. I beat everything on expert. 100% of it. Didn't unlock all the achievements, but I 100% of it. Xbox continued financial struggles are no secret at this point, and it hasn't helped that Microsoft has pushed its first-party teams to aim for a 30% profit margin lately. Following major acquisitions like Bethesda, Softworks, Activision Blizzard, and more, Microsoft attempted to look for immediate results in the form of huge profits, but this meant that it put many of its own studios under a lot of pressure. Fortunately, a new report suggests the gaming giant is taking a step back from this approach. Profitability, now more than ever, is a tricky subject for major games releases, largely due to the cost of AAA production today. No, mostly because you had a bunch of DEI garbage inserted into there, and that doesn't sell. Man, they just will never want to admit to it, but it's true. Prioritizing profitability in numbers also limits creativity in game development, which is why you hire apparently counsel or DEI counsel firms. This character needs to be this. This needs to be that. So, according to popular Xbox insider Jez Corden, Xbox has recently reduced margin pressure for its team. What it means for first-party teams is unknown for now, but the insider suggests that Xbox now has more room for experimentation. Effectively, the gaming giant will not be limited to prioritizing features or games that have the greatest likelihood of turning a profit. Because Jez Corden specifically mentioned features and systems, the statement could be referring to software or hardware additions to the Xbox ecosystem. And as we know, Project Helix is expected to arrive in 2027. Microsoft Gaming Division certainly has a chance to experiment with things it may not have otherwise been able to. Studios like Double Fine will likely be able to continue working on experimental and creative projects as a result of this eased pressure. And that's pretty much what he said. I've heard recently that the Xbox reduced margin pressure from the top down. These changes of heart could also be part of a broader shift as Xbox following Asha Sharma's appointment as the new CEO of a company. Elsewhere, it is said that new Xbox head has considered a price drop for the Game Pass, which we read earlier, to offer great value to its subscribers. Well, that is all I have for you guys tonight. So thanks to everyone who hung out. We'll be back again with some more gaming tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central Time on the Big Five, YouTube, Rumble, X, Kick, and Twitch.
So long.
So let's...
Yeah, it seemed like you've been...
Pulled up my boy Phoenix here because we're rating him on Rumble. Show him some love. Also show love for the channel by leaving a like and subscribe. And leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you don't like it, feel free to leave one of those too and a dislike. Okay, doke. Catch you guys later. Let's go hang out with Phoenix. Target stream cannot be the current stream. What? I literally highlighted. Oh my gosh, so dumb. There we go. All right, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good rest of your night. Take care. Peace.